Hi, my name is Gaylon and I've had an abortion. I am with the Chicago Abortion Fund, and we provide financial assistance to women seeking abortion procedures who can't afford them. We also provide some direct advocacy services as well. We invite those women back to the table to take part in our leadership group. We are developing a new range of reproductive justice movement activists from a population that has been previously ignored. We've been going on the TV show since the beginning of January, once a month, and basically bringing on women that have had an abortion and talking about their experiences, talking about reproductive justice and abortion access from their perspective. And so we've been doing that once a month. We've also been having guests come on the show from different organizations that work within the reproductive justice movement with us. So tonight we have Nilsa from L.O.R.E, which is Latinas Organizing for Reproductive Equality. She's here to join us, and we're going to have an interesting conversation. I will also flash our overhead, our information, a couple of times throughout the course of the program. So if you need assistance or if you want to support or volunteer, you'll get our information several times throughout the course of the program. Thank you, Nilsa, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. My name is Nilsa Irizarry, and I'm co-founder of Latinas Organizing for Reproductive Equality, and I too have had an abortion. We're going to have a casual conversation this evening about reproductive justice, and just to say a little bit about the group. The group is a grassroots collective, and we work around reproductive health and reproductive choice for Latinas and their families within the Chicagoland area.
Great, great. And so I just thought that maybe we would bounce some calls back and forth, some questions back and forth that you can ask. Feel free to ask me questions as well. So, Nilsa, reproductive justice encompasses a lot of things. It's the umbrella for a lot of things. It's not just abortion and abortion access. It's a range of things. And in different communities, that may mean something different. So why don't you just talk a little bit about reproductive justice in the Latina community and what that means?
Again, that's a good way to put that. Reproductive justice, or the reproductive justice framework, is comprehensive and includes not just talking about access to safe abortions, but it's also talking about comprehensive sexual education. It's talking about comprehensive family planning choices, and it's also talking about not having restrictions in our bodies when or when not to choose. We do experience barriers, and women of color do experience numerous barriers. And one of the barriers that Latina community members do experience is the language barrier, and not having culturally sensitive materials that are available for our communities. So again, reproductive justice is something as very comprehensive. It's more than just the access to an abortion, though it is a huge part of the reproductive justice movement.
Okay. Now, tell me a little bit about, there's the stigma, and even though we are just really beginning to get young women that have had abortions, that have come through the Chicago Abortion Fund, talking about their experience and their perspectives. I don't see so much of that in the Latina community, with the exception of the activists that are already there and getting paid and doing this work. Is there still the stigma around abortion access, reproductive justice in the Latina community?
Well, let me start by speaking in different terms on that. One of the things is even from myself coming out here, I thank you for having this program to be able to talk about and saying this is who I am, and I too had an abortion because of the stigma that we have within our communities, unable to talk about that. But there is a lot of grassroots organizing around Latina reproductive health. It's more in the table now. For example, the National Latina Reproductive Health, which is Institute, which is in New York, has a great program, and that's how L.O.R.E came about, because of their training program that is Latinas Organizing for Leadership and Advocacy. And that training is one of the trainings we were a part of in January 2005, and that's how we mobilized here in Chicago. Yes, there is still stigma, but there are grassroots organizations working on eliminating those stigmas. One of the stigmas is, of course, within our culture, is very difficult to talk about sex. What does sex look like? What does it entail? Also, the taboos can be about in our religion, or the stigma of abortion or other family planning methods seen as sin. Again, I speak for myself and what I've observed within our communities as the time that I've been with L.O.R and as a Latina woman being raised in a Catholic family and experiencing that. I might not speak for everyone within our community, but I do speak for the women that I have been working with and that L.O.R has worked with, and in my own experience as well. That those are some of the stigmas that we have within our community.
Well, I definitely think that the work that you're doing and Laura's doing is powerful, and we need to continue to have conversations. We need to continue to collaborate and come together, because I think that one of the things that happens in the movements is there's a lot of division based on either different cultures, different languages, other different type of barriers, and so we need to still come together and still do this work up under this umbrella. So thank you for agreeing to come on the show. Can you tell us a little bit about L.O.R and what it exactly does?
Sure. So like I had mentioned, we did in January 2005 took the training with the national organization that's based in Chicago. It's based in New York. The training was here in Chicago. Out of that, it was created a Chicago Advocacy Network. And a couple of months into it, we had the opportunity to start working and doing presentations on reproductive health. We also had the opportunity to talk about International Women's Day and create workshops and also a conference on that. But one of our signature events is what's called Cafecitos, where we talk about storytelling methods, or use storytelling methods to talk about our experiences in reproductive health and lack of.
Okay, so I'm going to interrupt you for a quick minute, and we're going to take a phone call.
Sure.
Go ahead, caller.
Yes, abortion. When they give an abortion, how do they abort the child? And all.
Okay, go ahead and finish, and then I will address.
Okay. So one of the things that we do talk about is reproductive justice and empowerment, our histories, our stories. So, for example, I'll give you a good example. You and I talk about, we both had abortions, and how did that affect us, and how can we be empowered within our communities. And Cafecitos has that moment where we can share our thoughts and our stories. And we do this in cafecitos or coffee shops, and we talk about how to empower ourselves, how to do community mobilization around reproductive health, justice, and rights.
Okay. So just to address a little bit that previous caller, Chicago Abortion Fund is a fund. We provide financial assistance to women seeking abortion procedures. We don't do the procedure. There's plenty of information on the internet about abortions, and so if that is something that you're interested in, feel free to check the internet or look up Planned Parenthood or some different other organizations that can answer those questions for you directly. Another question that came in is, has Chicago Abortion Fund endorsed a presidential candidate? And non-for-profits cannot participate in that. And so that's one of the things, as a 501c3, non-for-profits cannot participate in politics on that matter. So there is no discussion about that.
Yes.
Okay, so is there any other things that you want to add about Cafecitos?
Again, the Cafecitos is a model that was adopted from NRLH, the National Institute, and we kind of modified it to the Chicagoland area. In the Cafecitos, women are able to come and discuss about their experiences, but the setting is very casual. We're talking, we do have ground rules, and we have the opportunity to establish a safe space. We are all volunteers. We are all grassroots organizers. There might be a situation we might not be able to take care of right away, but we do have resources for individuals who come if a certain situation is something that we're not able to handle.
Okay. I think we have a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Hello?
Yes?
Hello?
Yes, I was calling because I was just wondering exactly, do you feel that this is a good message to send